I'm joined now by Aurel Braun. He's a professor of international relations and political science at the University of Toronto. What's it been like there leading up to today?
Well, this has been surprising in some ways because, as was noted, Trudeau should have been able to win a majority, and now the projections are talking about a possible minority government. It could even be a minority conservative government. This has been a scandal-ridden Liberal government, and yet he still is that is Trudeau and his party, they are in a kind of statistical dead heat, according to projections, with the Conservatives. We'll have to see. Opinion polls have been mistaken before, and the results will be coming in a couple of hours.
Someone wrote online that this is the Seinfeld election in that it's not about a whole lot. The candidates really haven't done a lot in terms of describing how they want to shape Canada's future. Because of that, a lot of people saying it is a referendum on Trudeau. Do you think that's a safe way of describing it? And as a result, has it hurt enthusiasm?
It is perhaps in part a referendum about Trudeau, but it is also a case that the conservative leader has not been able to connect. What he has said has not resonated. There are arguments to be made. There were the scandals. There are some economic issues. There are foreign policy differences. But many people, until more recently at least, did not even know the name of the conservative leader. The party that is surprising the Canadian public, in a sense, is the resurgent NDP party. The leader of the NDP is a very dynamic individual who was able to communicate his ideas well. And one can only imagine if the Conservatives would have had a leader like that, given the scandals that beset the Liberal Party, the Conservatives could have won not only a majority, they might have been able to win a landslide with a dynamic, with a good communicator as leader.
And that leader, the NDP, not too long ago said he would consider working with other party or parties to prevent a conservative government. So can he be the kingmaker?
He may prove to be the kingmaker. It is more likely that the NDP would work with the Liberal Party, and that would mean that even if theoretically the Conservatives would come in with a plurality, they would have slightly more votes than the Liberals, they may not be able to gather enough support to be able to form a government, and that through an informal coalition at least, the Liberals might be able to hang on. But there are strange things that happen in politics, and Mr. Singh has also said that he would like to see what of the main parties would be willing to offer the NDP. And it's always conceivable that there may be some offer, a surprising offer, from the Conservatives, if they are the minority, that he may find attractive. But on balance, it would seem much more likely that the NDP support would go to the Liberals.
So supporters of Trudeau would say he navigated trade negotiations with a rather unpredictable neighbor to the south, Donald Trump. He has a robust economy. So why hasn't he been able to close the deal, do you think?
Well, he negotiated a deal, but it's not necessarily the best deal, and he didn't do it on time. Mexico negotiated a deal before, and Canada was put in a position where we were pushed to take what was best left over. He has been in dispute with a number of countries, and the Canadian economy is not in bad shape, but he inherited an excellent economy, relatively speaking, and the growth rate in Canada is rather low. So the potential that the Canadian economy has, and this is a large economy, we are a G7 country. The Canadian economy is comparable in size, in nominal terms, to the Italian or to the Russian economy. Many believe that we could do better.
Aurel, in a tight election where you're sitting right now can be critical. There's a high population in Toronto. Any way to gauge which way the higher population regions are breaking?
It's a little bit too early. We know that in the Maritimes, the Liberals are very strong. They're going to carry that. We know that in Alberta and some of the other Western provinces, the Conservatives are very strong. But Ontario will be absolutely crucial. And it's interesting also in Quebec, that in Quebec you have a resurgent Bloc Québécois. And where the Bloc Québécois would go, I mean, we would expect that more than likely they could support the Liberals, but economically, they may be closer in some ways to the Conservatives. So this is an election that is really, really highly unpredictable.
And we'll be watching it. Aurel Braun, thanks so much for your analysis. Appreciate it.